This week resumed the second phase of validation of its report, expected to have sweeping constitutional changes likely to affect President Uhuru Kenyatta's 2022 succession race. The BBI debate resumes only days after a week of national mourning following the demise of the country's former President Arap Moi. But what lessons on political transition can BBI proponents pick from memories shared of the succession phases before and after the Moi presidency? Mourning takes a closer look on this week's House of Cards.
For a country constantly in electioneering mood, the week-long national mourning following the demise of former President Arap Moi certainly presented an unexpected break from the President Uhuru Kenyatta succession politics. Nobody can stop breaking. And key political players now scheme to yet again hit the ground with the now famous Building Bridges Initiative sensitization forums, as the BBI Steering Committee also resumes its second phase of the BBI report validation process.
BBI ikileta uwiano kati ya wanasiasa tukiwa huko juu. Nyinyi pia mtoe maoni ambayo itasaidia hapa chini.
Katiba ibadilishwe. Haya tunaangalia hii na hii na hii, nataka katiba ibadilishwe. Tunaandika mswada, hii mswada tunachapisha, tunanyosha wananchi. But
what lessons can power brokers behind the Kenyatta presidency and BBI proponents draw on how to manage succession politics from revelations of key leaders who recounted their similar experiences during the transitions into and out of Moi's 24 years presidency? Now, while the current succession politics has largely been hinged on the contest for control of the country's executive authority, either through the presidency as currently constituted or through an expanded executive roping in additional senior position holders, such as an executive prime minister.
In the field,
former Vice President Musalia Mudavadi, who sat on the front political row in the pre-2002 Moi handover to retired President Moi Kibaki, argues the BBI debate may have been suddenly hijacked by politics of personalities, seemingly killing the strategic role of the political mentorship culture he says Moi had inculcated in the broader succession roadmap that birthed the careers of most of the current top political players, including himself, President Kenyatta, and even his deputy William Ruto.
He respected the need to grow young people into a system. I was perhaps a beneficiary. Indeed, I was a beneficiary because I was a young man, very young when I entered his cabinet, at 28 years and a half, let me put it that way. And I eventually served as his Minister for Finance and eventually even as his Vice President.
There are about 9 issues which formed the basis for the handshake between His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and His Excellency Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. These 9 issues actually cover the different facets of the Republic of Kenya, the issues that Kenyans have been talking about over the last few years, the issues that we felt were missing actually from our governance structure.
The business of BBI is to see how is it possible that we don't get back to where we are at the moment, that even the person who's leaving power is not scared of the person who's coming.
Arap Moi.
Yet, unlike in the 1978 power handover and the transition in 2002 and 2013, where all outgoing heads of state, namely founding President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Moi, and Kibaki respectively, were vacating from power at advanced age.
Kenya, billion.
At 58, Uhuru's age has become a key talking point in the 2022 succession debate, with key BBI proponents toying with the idea of roping in Kenyatta, now on his final constitutional term as president, into his own succession roadmap, to take up such a senior executive position, possibly as a prime minister, should the BBI process sanction a shift from the current presidential to a parliamentary system of government. A narrative that had in the late 70s also hit the founding president Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's succession politics after unsuccessful attempts by Kikuyu power brokers led by then powerful ministers Mbiu Koinange and Kihiga Kimani to alter the constitution and block Moi's automatic accession to the presidency in event of Mzee Kenyatta's death.
In the field.
A subject almost similar to one Mudavadi recalls hearing yet again in the early 2002 from persons who doubted Moi's willingness to vacate power after the polls.
There was this theory that President Moi will not hand over government. And everybody, particularly in the position that time, they had even created a theory that the wall or the fence that was being put around State House was supposed to barricade and make it look like a military fortress.
This one of 2022 is a result of a constitutional arrangement, which is predictable. So because of this, that in every aspect, what we expect, the only common denominator is we expect a peaceful transition, like what happened in 2002. 2002 also was unexpected. That's why suddenly Mzee Moi transformed from whatever small criticism people had against him to an icon.
If we are serious, this BBI should be about us implementing the myriad of laws and the myriad of provisions in the current constitution that can be able to make us a better society and a better nation. But if every time we say, no, this one, it is like somebody who goes to a witch doctor. Witch doctor must come up with something.
I wouldn't mind Uhuru having any position in the coming elections or in the coming government, as long as it had value the common living standards of the common mwananchi. But if it doesn't, it's only for prestige, doesn't add value.
Nevertheless, with the clock fast ticking to the 2022 polls and with pressure mounting from the ODM leader Raila Odinga's camp for a swift identification of the constitutional amendment issues and a referendum before the end of the year, the BBI team remains on the spotlight. Nobody can stop breaking. As the June 30th deadline for handover of the final report beckons, Murimi Mwangi, KTN News.